What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 79 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today I welcomed a North Carolina artist. His name is actually The Artist 336. He's a really incredible MC. I connected with him back in I believe the springtime, maybe early summer, and we're actually currently working on some music. We already have one song. We might have a project coming in 2022 as well, so be on the lookout for that. But today I really just wanted to pick his brain about where he is currently in his career and everything. I didn't know that he had just started pretty much going in music in early 2020 around the time of the pandemic. He talked about what it's been like juggling that with doing mixing and mastering for different people, making cover art for different people. He also makes all of his own cover art for his own songs as well. He shouted out several close collaborators in the city of Raleigh that he's worked with and that are going to be at his shows and everything, and I'm looking forward to checking them out as well. Overall, this was a very cool conversation, very mellow, laid-back vibe. Like I said, we've already had dialogue before, so it felt kind of more natural this week in this episode. I'm looking forward to all the stuff he has coming out soon and what he's doing moving forward, because I can tell he has... I think he's just really having fun with it, you know what I mean? I feel like he's going to only get better over time. If he's this good, about a year in, I can only imagine he's going to become a very incredible MC as time goes on, and he continues to just put the work in that he's been doing. And I thank him for giving his time today, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. Welcome, everyone, to episode 79 here on the Proven Knowledge Podcast. This is the Creator Series. Today I have an artist. He's based out of North Carolina. Discovered this guy a few months back. We've been working on some music together, and he actually goes by the name The Artist 336. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Actually, the sun's coming out now. It's been a rainy day here in North Carolina, but man, it's been good.
Yeah, I can't relate to that because I'm in Ohio and I haven't seen the sun in like 5 days already. But I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I'm excited to get you on the show today. And we basically have the guest start out, just give a little bit of background. How you got into music, how long you've been doing it, pretty much basic information for those that might not be familiar with you and what you do.
Okay, yeah, man. I live in North Carolina now, specifically Raleigh, capital city. I moved out here a few years back for some school, ended up graduating, staying. But yeah, the whole music thing is actually funny. I'm essentially more of a late bloomer in terms of like hip hop. I grew up in small town. I got to tell you the county because no one even knows the town. I grew up in Davie County, right outside of Winston, but super small town, real country. But I grew up listening to country music, majority classic rock from my dad. And I didn't even get introduced to hip hop aside from what was on the radio until, man, I was probably high school. I might have been driving. So I was like 15, 16, and hanging out with a group of guys, and they showed me, what was it? I think it was Taylor Alderdice, Wiz Khalifa's mixtape. And I didn't even know mixtapes were a thing. Like, genuinely had no idea at this time. I started diving in. I remember Cabin Fever. I heard that like 3 years after everybody listened to it. I remember trying to show people, and they were like, yeah, like, we already know about this. And I was like, what? I was like, how am I so behind? Honestly, it was just playing a lot of catch up, like all of high school. I know most people in high school would probably associate. I know in college for sure. I always had headphones in, even not in class. Like just always had headphones in because I was just playing catch up. But yeah, man, I've been in love with like the lyricism and hip hop. And when I got to college, I got lucky enough to work with a guy who was a real old like 90s hip hop head, and he like played me, and I heard Wu-Tang and stuff like that, but I really dove into like Wu-Tang, and it blows my mind even like listening. And I love what Riz is doing right now with the Wu-Tang American Saga series. It's so cool to see it from a different perspective, like real acting, but the whole ability to create a brand new layer, just like you're making a beat, like just like you're making an instrumental, like the way that Jizza and Raekwon and Ghostface and all of them have been able to like create a whole extra layer of the beat with their lyric, like with the physical way they rap. Like Jizza specifically, man. I literally have the Liquid Swords album. I have it tattooed on my leg. But yeah, man, and then from there, and then in high school I had a buddy. So how I actually got into making music, I had a friend. Actually, it was my brother's friend, my younger brother's friend, who is making stuff on GarageBand, and he put out a song, and I remember my brother showed it to me, and I was like, "Yo, what is?" I was like, "Yo, what is it? Like, this is good." And it was much more. You can tell it was auto tuned here and there, but I just remember reaching out to him, being like, "Yo, man, like this is good. Like this is really good." And then he put out a few more stuff, and he and we worked briefly, real quick, but I never really got to work with him. And then unfortunately, he ended up getting into some trouble. And had to get sent away for a year. Some like I think it was boarding school type of stuff. But he got sent away for a year. No outside contact type of stuff. Some real heavy stuff. But when he got back, I remember he hit me up immediately, and we got into the. He was like, "Yo, I got like all the stuff still set up for the studio," and me and him were real keen on like having our own space to do it, like getting the mic, getting all that, like not having to pay for studio time, which he had already done in the past. At like 16, I mean, he put out those songs. I mean, he's got songs with like 13, 14,000 plays on SoundCloud that have been out, but those are like actual recordings in the studio. So we got with him, and man, it's just he doesn't do music much anymore. He's a pilot now. So I mean, shout out to him, man. He's doing great. He's already ahead of his time, even doing the pilot stuff. But almost like him not doing it kind of pushed me to do it, almost not for him necessarily, because I definitely do it for myself, but it was like almost like a Kickstarter for it. But yeah, man, that's how I got started. I remember sending him stuff, and he was like, "Yo, what is this?" He was like, "Send me that immediately." And yeah, and just been chasing, that feeling of like having that song. You put it back in your headphones, you're just like, man, like I made this. Like this is it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's how I got started. I know it's a long story, but yeah, that's how I got started, really.
No, that was great, because even myself, I had no idea like your background or anything, or how long you'd been doing it or whatever. So that's really cool to hear, kind of just how it kind of fell into place the right way. You know what I mean? Like I don't think
Absolutely.
you never really started out and you were like, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper. Like you were just kind of one thing happened here and there, and now here you are. So what about the name? Like, why the artist? I'm kind of curious about that, because like.
So I'm very drawn on. I love a good rap name. Don't get me wrong. But I've always been trying to be myself more or less. My mom's always said, she goes, you've always been like, ever since high school, she goes, you would not take no for an answer, but she was like, and she goes, you don't care. She goes, you don't care what people think. And I was like, no, not really. I said, I do. Granted much, of course I do. But at the end of the day, it's like, I got to like it myself more than anything. So, man, I fiddled around with a bunch of different rap names here and there, but I don't know. Every time I did one, I was like, man, this just sounds corny. Because then you see all these dope names, like, I mean, Ghostface Killer. Granted, they got a bunch of that stuff from all the old Wu-Tang movies and stuff like that, so they got kind of not lucky, more or less. But I mean, Raekwon the Chef, like stuff like that. And I mean, even like 50 Cent. I mean, if you really think about it, like 50 Cent is not like nothing crazy, but it's so universal, and it's so like everybody knows who that is. So I mean, I don't know. Originally on my first SoundCloud project, I released it as the artist, which is my goal in time is to be the artist. Like I want to drop the 336 and just be the artist. But when I first dropped with the artist, I actually had a whole name change. I went to the artist, but it got real difficult for people to kind of find me on Spotify, because if you type just the artist and hit enter on Spotify, iTunes, it's a list. Like it is a list of people, whether that's just the artist or it's got other stuff implied like Chance the Rapper, stuff like that. So then I was like, all right, well, I was like, what do I need to add to make it so people don't have to try to find me? So I kind of played off of what Logic did originally when he first came out. He had all his Twitter handle and all his Instagram handle was Logic 301, which is his Maryland area code. And I was like, what better way to, kind of put on for where I'm from? So I was like, you know what, the artist 336. And it's kind of built, and I got people like it. I mean, nothing wrong with it, but it just makes it easier for people to find me. So the artist is definitely what I want to keep. My hopes in the long run is to be able to drop that 336 and just be the artist. So yeah, just kind of owed to me, me being me.
Yeah. See, here was my weird theory. For some reason, I thought about this. I know that you like mix and master and stuff, and you do artwork and stuff. And I was like, maybe he's the artist because he does he's not only like a musician, but he does all this other type of art too. So it all encompanies into being just an artist. I don't know why that's what I thought of.
No, it's
But
it's a good theory,
yeah.
and I like that you've come up with a theory because that helps. That makes me feel better about it. So yeah, actually, I went to NC State for graphic design, more or less, without that actually being my goal, without that actually being on my diploma. I had a concentration in graphic design originally. So that's why like all the graphics you see on all my albums, all my singles and stuff, that's all done by me. Even the poster I got out right now for the show coming up, I did that. I'm working on my videos. My visual stuff is not as easy. Yeah, so but that Adobe Premiere, man, trips me out. It's a little harder. But yeah, so I was actually my all my license and birth certificate, it is artist, like ARTIST. So that's where it came from. But no, I like that you have a theory though, because that makes me feel like people are actually thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's weird too, because like when we think about artists in music, we think about someone on stage performing or whoever puts out their own music. We call them an artist, but technically, artist could be a painter or a designer or whoever in art world. So an artist could be anyone. So it's like kind of works both ways too. And for you, it's like you do all these different things, so it's just encompanies into one big brand. So.
Oh yeah, and I've noticed that especially in like being in the music industry, the little bit of time I've been. Actually was at a show. What's today? Monday. I was at a show Saturday. For one of the guys that's actually going to be at my concert or going to be at my show next week, and then another buddy of mine. And I was just out there just chilling, and but it was cool though because I had people come up to me and they were like, "Yo, like where I know you from?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "I do music," and they were like, "Nah, that's not it." But they were like, either way, but it was like super real quick connecting. Ended up connecting with a ton of photographers, like videographers, even some other artists. But it's just like so cool in a situation like the music industry and like even just a small show. Like it was just super quick put together. Like I know they took their time getting everything set up. But I mean, it was at the Durham skate park, like nothing but a tent and some speakers with a mixer, everything, microphone, all that. But to see like 20, I know there were more people after I left. Fortunately had to go to work, but I know at 4:30 when I left, there was like 20, 30 people out there, and you're talking like photographers, videographers, other artists, even just promoters and stuff like that. Man, there's an art to promoting. There's an art in the marketing. So I mean, like the whole term artist, I feel like it's so ambiguous now, where it's like people get overlooked because they're like, oh, it's not art. Like my biggest pet peeve is when people say graphic design isn't art. I watched a dude. I worked with NC State athletics while I was in college, doing graphics for a lot of sports teams, or a handful of the sports teams. But I watched my creative director, man. I mean, that man gets hounded every day. Like, hey, I need this, this, and this, and this, and this. And they're like, he's like, okay, well, I need like, this many days to get this done. They're like, well, why can't you get it done today? And he's like, because it takes time to do what you're asking me to do. And it's like that whole 10,000 rule. It's like you're not paying me for how long it takes me to do it now. You're paying me for how many hours I've spent learning how I can do it so quickly.
Yeah, and it's basically a substitute for having to learn that yourself. That's why you're paying the money to someone else.
Exactly. If you're not doing it, you want someone else to do it. That's where the money comes in.
It's common sense to us, but to people, you kind of have to explain it because they don't get it.
Oh yeah,
that's hilarious. Because I know exactly what you're talking about. So, you do mixing, mastering, you do artwork and stuff for people now. You also do music. Is there any type of struggle with balancing all this stuff, or do you kind of just go by each day by day and just figure out what you have to do, make a to-do list? Like, have you ever run into any trouble so far trying to balance everything out?
Oh, yeah. So it's almost like kind of a personal sacrifice at the same time, I should say, because the biggest struggle I find is it always happens when I get like stuck trying to do like make music myself, and I'm like, all right, well, you know what, I can't get anything done right now. So I hop on and I go, all right, well, let me mix and master these songs. I got a dude I just finished up like almost half of his album. He's got coming out in December. Roger Pearl, man, this album is gonna be beautiful. It's called Golden Boy. This man is a talent, is genuinely just so talented. Just he's a ball of energy, and just he's genuinely fantastic person to be around, and he's actually gonna be at that show too. I've been grateful to work with him, but yeah, man, it gets tough because you put so much. I put a lot of pressure on myself to make music, and when I first started, man, it was nice because I was like, oh, I got a song, I got another song. Next day in the booth, another song, and then it's definitely slowed down for me now. I don't know if that's because I've like pushed myself too much, or if it's like I don't want to say I'm running out of content. I think I've learned now I need to be more creative with my lyricism and more content. But yeah, the struggle I find is just putting off my own stuff. And then when I do put off my own stuff, I go hop on, I'll do this mix and mastering. So it's beneficial at the same time because I am getting other stuff done and getting these graphics out to other people and getting these mix and masters to other people. And it helps. I love mixing and mastering people's stuff because when I get someone else, when I get someone new that I haven't mastered, I have to learn something else because I've grown up mixing, mastering my own stuff. And so with my voice, I got my presets, plugins, it's all saved. Like I can pull up, hit my template, open my template up, and I'm almost with a few adjustments here and there, depending on my tone at the moment, it's all set. So it's fun working with other people's music and hearing their other vocals because it makes me really almost like reset how I did everything. But no, it's definitely a struggle trying to balance everything out, especially the mixing mastering. And I'm very one. It's like if I have stuff to do for someone, I want to get it to them quick, and then when I drag on about it, I'm like, yo, I'm sorry, yo, I'm getting it. I promise. And they're like, nah, like you're good. Like I told you I don't need it yet, and I was like, I know, but I told you I'd get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a struggle balancing, especially for myself.
Yeah. I like what you said about you like mixing for other people as well, because it's like you got to challenge yourself too and kind of get outside of your comfort zone all the time in music. So it's like you got to just keep doing that over and over again to get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I think that's great. You mentioned before about self-promoting, like how important it is to put yourself out there as an artist and everything. For you, what do you think is your main method of self-promoting? Is it shows now that they're coming back, or is it still social media, or is it a little bit of everything? Like, how have you found your footing in that regard since you've been putting out more music?
So that's a good question, actually. So I started my biggest promotion, especially I got, like I've talked about, I tell myself I got lucky in the sense of with the pandemic timing, because it was right when I hopped into music, and so it kind of halted everyone else for a second, and it almost gave me that momentum to kind of catch up. Because a lot of people had to readjust with how they're promoting. Because I will say to this day, the biggest promoter you can have is a show. Whether that's getting other acts with you, the show is the best way to do it. Because literally the other day, actually that show I was at Saturday, I had a dude who had heard some of his music, was like, not that I wasn't a fan, but I was like, okay, like, this dude's good. But nothing I came back to. And then I saw him perform, and I was like, this man's good. Like, whole different ball of energy. And I ended up talking to him after, and I was like, I've listened to your stuff before, but I was like, after the show, I was like, I'm a fan. So I think the biggest thing promoting is social media now, which is funny. I don't know what's up. I got to contact Facebook or something because I'm like banned, right? Not banned, but I'm like, my account's on lock, so I can't even promote on Instagram right now for some reason. But yeah, so I think the easiest one is Instagram. Self-promotion, Instagram, easiest way to go. Hop on. You can choose your dollar amount, how many days you want it to run, who you want your audience to be. I think we really, and in Facebook especially, Facebook is a lot more detailed oriented. Facebook is low-key hard to promote your ads on. I messed with it one day and I was like, wow, like it's in depth. But I think those are tools that people really I can't even speak. They don't really realize like how helpful that stuff is. Like, I didn't even start promoting until like this last summer, and I started promoting like every time I posted a song, I'd do like 5-6 days afterwards promotion, like let it spread. But I wouldn't do anything before. I wouldn't do it till a day of, because I learned that if people can't immediately listen to it, they're probably not going to click on it. So, but yeah, man, I'm just doing that. I think more or less, is that how you found me, was an ad?
I think I just found you doing like my daily searches for different artists.
Okay.
I do that every day.
I was curious.
But I don't know who was. It was like a mutual follower of someone, and then I just came across your. Who knows? But
okay, yeah. I was curious. I've always been curious. But yeah, man, I think social media people sleep on very much so with how easy it is to promote. Even just gaining a fan a day. One fan a day. If you do one fan a day for 365 days, that's 365 fans. You put out a t-shirt and you got genuine fans that want to listen to it. 365 fans, one t-shirt, $20. The numbers just go up. It's like me and my buddy, when we were doing a lot of work with promoting and stuff and trying to figure out marketing. I literally remember it to this day. 100 true fans is worth more than 1,000 followers every day of the week, because those people are going to be there and they're going to be the ones that actually spend money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as things open up, shows I think is the next big promoter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting too, because like as far as the ads go, I love how you can kind of just try different things each time. Like you said, you just put like $1 or maybe $5 in. You can narrow down your target audiences, your regions, and everything, and just see if that works. And if not, the next time we try something else and we see if that works.
And it's $5 isn't nothing compared to how much you're gonna spend in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the whole pinpoint thing, I love that you can pinpoint cities. Like, so my show next week is not in Raleigh; it's in Winston, which is where I'm from. Granted, I got a lot of people I grew up with are still out there. A bunch of them hit me up, said they're coming. But when I did the first, before my account got all messed up, I posted an ad specifically in Winston, and I did nothing but Winston, and I ranged it out a little bit, and I did some ads in there, and I had like 5-6 people follow me but they're all from Winston. And so it's like, whether or not they show up to the show, I don't know. But either way, now that's like 5-6 new people who listen to my music. Whether or not they come back, it don't matter. They listened.
Yeah. I love, too, how you said about kind of balancing both. Like social media, obviously we all have that world. But then your local area, too. And it's like you're doing these shows now. You're getting in front of more people now. The things are opening back up and everything. And it's just kind of expanding the way it's supposed to naturally. You know what I mean? You're actually getting real fan. And I love what you said about the fans, too, because it's like, everyone looks at the followers and like that's important for certain things, but you could have as many followers as you want, but they might not even be engaging with any content. They might not be buying anything from you. So you got to focus on the people that want to see what you're putting out, want to hear your music, want to buy your stuff. That's the people that are going to keep coming back each time. So
exactly, yeah, those are the people you got to focus on.
Exactly.
And another thing, back with the whole promotion thing, I'm lucky enough that I work downtown at a pizzeria. If you're in Raleigh, Demo's Pizzeria, best place in town, I promise you. But I'm lucky enough there that like our whole staff, like we get reviews all the time, like, you know, staff super friendly. So I get lucky with being able to meet people. And I met this dude, great guy. He goes by Modric Sanders. Or wait, let me trip out. Don't let me get that wrong, because I just met a dude, Broski Sanders. I'm getting my names mixed up. He gonna be mad if I get this mixed up. I gotta get this right because I don't want to mess up this. Right. Yeah, no, Modric Sanders. So his name is Modric Sanders, Madrique. Great guy, super cool. He literally came in one day. He has a group called Doc Music Group. They call it Dreams of Children. They do a ton of stuff in the community. But either way, he came in. He had the hat on, and I was like, yo, what is that? We talked real quick, and he's got what? Let's see. I'm literally got it up right now. I mean, he's got a big base in Raleigh. And I mean, I think he shouted me out on or even just a story or something. I gained like 3 or more followers, stuff like that. So it's just like, I'm glad that I work in a spot where even though I got to make money there on the side, it's easy for me to communicate with the community, because it's such an easy thing, like pizza and stuff like that. Like people come in, let me get a slice, and it's super easy conversation starters. But yeah, so another thing with the promoting is, I mean, I'm lucky enough I work in a spot where I get to meet new people every single day.
That's super awesome. And that's that real face-to-face interaction, you know what I mean? As much as we love social media, you can't always get that through social media. Like, you got to go out there and put yourself out there still, kind of like how it's always been. So that's awesome. You've already mentioned, you know, a few people that are going to be at your show coming up. Is there anyone you want to shout out that maybe is like a longtime collaborator or someone that we should be aware of their music coming out soon?
Yeah, so back to Roger Pearl. This guy's range is, I can't even put into words, man. I literally sent him a voice message the other day after he sent me some tracks, and I had to listen to him, and I was like, yo, what? Like, I was like, what is this? But yeah, Roger Pearl, ROGERPEARL. The dude's gifted, man. He really is. Sing, rap, melodies, like, his tape or his project coming out at the end of the December, man, it's genuinely going to be exciting, because like it's a whole range, and this man's impressive. Yeah, Roger Pearl for sure. My man Raekwon, RAKWON, he's going to be at the show. He's got some good stuff coming out. I know he's been working real privately lately, but he's got a lot of stuff. I think he said he's shooting for next year. I'm not going to give out a month, because I know he said that might change. And then the other guy I'm working with, Kid Canary. If you need to follow my page, KYDCANARY. I had to think about that because I spelled it wrong one day. He's super good, man. Great upbeat. The man can sing. He just found an EP called Naked. Great Drake. Great list. And then my other dude that I actually work with, I work with Kid Canary too. Mal Boogie, MALBOOGY. Super soulful. Him and Kid Canary have been working together for a while. But yeah, Mal Boogie, man, he's soulful as hell. But those are the few I can think off the top of my head, just because I'm working with them at the moment. Shout out to boy Isaiah Fry. That's my boy. That's my pilot. But yeah, those are two off the top of my head I've really been working with. So definitely shout them out for the moment.
Nice. I'll have to check
Sorry
it out.
to all those. Sorry to all those I didn't tag who I've worked with recently.
We'll have to get them in part 2. If we do part 2, you got more people to shout out, I'm sure. So.
Oh yeah.
But I'll have to check some of them out. I think I saw the Raekwon guy on your page, so I was actually.
Yeah, I got that Be Me music video. That's him. My man's. He says he's from New York, but dude, he's got that southern melody. He's impressive.
Nice. I'll have to give him a listen for sure. So in the last year or so, obviously, I think you touched on this earlier. You know, when you were going through the pandemic and everything, and how that went for you. Is there any type of maybe a hurdle or a challenge recently that has been maybe a roadblock or maybe something that you've had to kind of get through to continue to keep things moving in the right direction, or have you kind of been smooth sailing a little bit recently with what you're doing?
Shit, I wish it was smooth sailing. There's days, man. You got days that are good days. You got days that feel like there's nice and smooth sailing. But honestly, the biggest hurdle I've had recently is just getting stuck. Because like I said, that pandemic for me musically was a blessing because it really helped me dive into getting started on things. But coming out of that, you get so used to and so in touch with working with yourself that now I've noticed that's become my roadblock. It's hard for me to work. It's hard. Like I used to be able to sit in the studio. Granted, back at my old spot, my studio was in my bedroom, so it's a little different. But man, there's days like I go a week or two sometimes without even coming down here, other than doing laundry. And I think that's the biggest hurdle I face now, which it's helpful that I've slowly realized that I think it's me working by myself. Don't get me wrong, love working by myself. I'm a homebody. Like I tell my girl, I'm an introverted extrovert. Love being around people. I can do it. But at the same time, I got to mentally recharge. I got to get my social battery back. And, but yeah, I think that's the biggest hurdle I've faced is making myself work with other people now. Not saying I'm not saying I haven't been open to it, but I've been so used to working by myself. And I've noticed now when I go 2, 3, 4 days in the studio by myself, I'm the only thing in here. I'm the only one recording. I get stuck. And so I run out of things to do, run out of things to say. And then I can have literally Mal or Kid Canary come over here one night. Next 3 days, I got all these bars coming in for no reason. But it's just that one day of working with somebody, boosting me back up, or even being in the studio. I had Isaiah and Roger in here 2-3 weeks ago. We were recording some stuff, getting some stuff set up for this show coming up. But there was at one point, thankfully, like I said, me and Isaiah have worked on this stuff so he can run everything on the computer. But I was sitting to the side, just watching. I wasn't even doing anything. I was letting them sit down, record it, and then just stuff like that. So that's been the biggest hurdle, is making myself not be by myself.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting too, because we're in kind of an era now where you can record yourself, you can make all your own beats if you wanted to, you can do all the raps and everything by yourself with no one in the room. But it's like, even then, I think everyone gets to the point where they're like, I really got to work with other people, because it's really like music has always been a collaborative thing. I feel like
Absolutely.
Whenever you do collab, it's like you're bringing the best of yourselves together to make something new and just keep things innovative and new and pushing in the right direction. So I'm with you on that, because I feel like when I'm making stuff by myself, I get the best stuff done. But then I'm like, what good does it do if it's all just sitting here and I can't share with anyone, or I can't work with these people, and it just gets boring. You almost get bored with yourself at a point, and you're like, I gotta kind of do something new. I gotta keep new things happening, new fresh.
And that's why I love having new heads come in here. I've talked to a few people. I'm trying to get just some like random people. I'm like, yo, come in. Like, even if I've got people who like, oh, like I don't really do it, but like I kind of do it. I'm like, I don't care. Like, come, like, please. Cause just having that creative energy flowing, um, and then just like feeding off each other. And then I love when Isaiah gets over here because I mean, dude, me and him go. We got we got so many songs. Granted, we can put a ton of them out on SoundCloud, but a lot of them we couldn't probably get past. We've done a lot of like remixes, but like stuff like that, and it's like it's a competition, but it's a good competition. Like it brings the best out of you, and it makes you want to up those bars. It makes you want to write the best stuff you've written. And I've gone back, I've written bars, whatever. I've recorded them. Next guy comes up, records. I'm like, all right, never mind. Scratch that whole thing. We're gonna rewrite that. And he's like, no. I'm like, no. We're rewriting this now. But yeah, just stuff like that, man. It's always nice having new energy in the room. It brings a good competition and brings the best out of everybody, like we said.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever thought about this before, but what do you think at the end of the day when people hear your music, your songs, and everything? What do you think your lasting impact is going to be when they hear your music? Like, what do you want people to walk away with and be like, I feel this after I hear the artist's music?
Oh man, my girl asked me this before, and I ain't even got an answer for her. I really don't have an answer, man, because I feel like I'll give you a brief one because I feel like I've always wanted to convey something out of mine, but I'm so new to this. I'm barely getting started, so I don't think I have like a lasting impact I want to leave with people yet. But currently, I think the impact I try to leave with people is back to the whole like being alone thing. Like I think a lot of people still aren't comfortable with that. I think the pandemic helped some people, and I think it hurt a lot of people with being by yourself. So that's another one I try to convey. I know I speak that into a few of my lyrics, where it's like it's okay to be by yourself. And I'm blessed with a partner. We're very both like, hey, I like hanging out with you, but like I need to be by myself for a little bit. I'm like, that's cool. I need that too. But I think that's another thing I try to convey in my messages. It's okay to be by yourself. Like that's when you get the strongest. That's when you get the strongest. That's when you get your best stuff. And then you go out and you take what you've done by yourself. And then when you're with people, it's like confidence level goes up. But so that's definitely one is be okay with being by yourself. Is definitely. And then I try to produce a lot of happy energy. I know not necessarily the word happy is the right word. But like be content. Like, be content with what you're doing. Like, it's not wrong. It may not feel right, but it's not wrong. I literally watched a video earlier. I'm scrolling on Instagram waiting. Snoop Dogg, like, people get so worried about failing. And they're like, oh, I failed. I'm like, nah, you didn't. You figured out what not to do. And so I think that's another thing I try to convey is, like, like, you mess up. It's all right. On to the next thing. Get yourself right, and then go back out there. So I may not say that explicitly in my stuff, but I feel like in the long term, that's kind of the message I'm preaching is like, get knocked down, come back up. Get knocked down 2 times, 3 steps forward. But yeah, that's the thing, just persevere, man. It's a lot of contentment you got to find in yourself before you can do anything else. So back to what I said, the whole be comfy with yourself before you can do anything else.
So I know you're working on a lot of stuff right now. You got a lot of projects coming up and everything. Is there any timetable for maybe a single or anything that you have coming up? Do you have? I know you don't have to reveal dates or anything right now, but when can we expect?
Okay, good, because I don't have any.
None. Zero.
No, I ain't got dates yet. I got songs, but I ain't got dates. I got one with Isaiah that I told him to put out, and then we just been miscommunicating here and there because he's a busy man. Because it's technically his, and so I'm letting him put it out under his name. But I'm about to kind of I hadn't told him yet, but I'm about to take the reins from him. I'm about to drop it under my name because he's taking too long. But it's called That's Right. Dude, it's a great song. And I want it to be his because I'm telling you, like, this man doesn't write. But God dang, every time he gives me something, I'm just like, dude, like, I know he's doing his thing, he's doing his pilot stuff. I tried to be that supportive guy, but there's so many times I'm like, yo, dude, come do this music with me. Like, come do this music with me. He's got the first verse and the last verse, and his last verse is stupid. First verse is stupid. I feel like I'm just a middleman in the song. But granted, I feel like that. I'm a very like upbringing person when it comes to being around people. But back to releases, yeah, that's definitely coming soon. My plan was to have it out before the show, but like I said, we miscommunicated on some things. But that's definitely coming out before the year's up. I'll tell you that at least. I got another one I'm playing at the show. It's called 5-0. Not a reference to the cops, reference to the grind. Um, that one's definitely coming out. I've been sitting on that one. Dude, that one's honestly old. Like I think I wrote that in like 2020. But I've been sitting on it, and it's just been ready, and I just been waiting for the right time. Honestly, I think I've been waiting for it to get colder because it's not a deeper song, but it's a real heavy song, not lyrically, but like just bass wise. So 5-0, that's right, definitely coming soon. Unfortunately, no projects in the work yet. My next project is gonna be very sequential when it comes to the songs on there. And very references to like Mac's last few stuff here. I want my next project to feel like a complete project. I don't want it to feel like a mixtape. I don't want it to feel like granted EP. I want it to be a project. I want it to be a full piece of work. It's like I don't have no project releases for you. Definitely some singles. I got at least 2 coming for the year, maybe 3. If I can get in the booth with some more people, definitely probably gonna have some more coming. But yeah, definitely got 2 this year. Next year, still up for grabs. But next part 2, we'll have some more information.
Yeah. I think it's good, too, to take your time with the project. Like you said, you want it to be really something that you can give people and be like, this is who I am, as an artist. Like, best presentation. And I think that's what projects are all about. Like we said earlier, we're in kind of a singles era and everything, but it's like if you decide to do a project, you got to make sure it's really what you want it to be, how you present it and everything. So that's awesome. I think your friend needs to get a microphone up on the plane with him. I think that might solve a lot of issues.
When he gets up, so he just did I know he just finished his not passenger stuff, but he just finished his private jet stuff. So maybe when he goes on to his next one, I think he's gonna hop up to like 747s here soon. So he's got a few hours up there. He might be able to get one up there. I try, dude. I'm telling you, this man is booked. Like I say that with great satisfaction because the man's doing what he's doing. But yeah, my man, like getting him in the studio that one night was a feat, and like I was genuinely like I told him multiple times throughout the night, dude. I said I can't believe you're even here right now. But yeah, man, the man works. He deserves it. But I definitely need to get him one of the microphones, like ones you can plug into the phone or something, just to have it, just something. I'll mix it from there. But yeah, I need to get him something.
If he's got to send the voice memos through, we can use that, right?
That's fine. I've done it before. I've made hits like it. I can do that.
That's great. So, last few questions here before we wrap up. These are questions that I ask every single guest, kind of more life questions. So, if you could go back 10 years ago, maybe give yourself a piece of advice, maybe not change anything at all, what do you think you would do?
Start this music thing earlier. Straight up. I think about that often. I think about that on my not dark days. That's bad. I shouldn't say that. I think about that on my low days. Because like I said, I mean, dude, I'll be 26 this year. And granted, that's not old by no means. I mean, I look at Danny Brown. Danny Brown popped off in his like mid 30s. So I don't look at it as a downfall, but at the same time, it's like you got kids now, 16, 17, 18, signing deals and stuff like that. Which is good for them by all means, but at the same time, I'm glad I'm as old as I am. I've always been fairly mature for my age, just from like family stuff growing up. So I've always had to like kind of take the reins a little bit quicker. But yeah, man, if I could do anything different, man, I've been definitely diving into this music sooner. Unfortunately, I don't even think it would have been. I don't think the availability would have been where it is now. Like being able to go out, buy this microphone, having all this information, of being able to know what to do. I don't think I would have had it in high school, but if I could have, that would have been it. I wish I would have started rapping in high school. No doubt about it.
So if we flip it then, 10 years from now, where do you think you envision yourself in your life and your career?
So realistically, no idea. Hopefully, hopefully, genuinely, like I would love to do this because as much as I love being an artist, I think I do very well with bringing people together in the sense of music, like very introductory and like I'm very adamant about getting people in a room together. So in 10 years from now, man, I love to have a small label of some sort, like genuinely have a small label of some sort, whether that's like broken off of like another major label or just being independent like Top Dog does. Which no, actually, I take back. I think they are a smaller group of someone else, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I would love to have like a small record label. Even if it's not a record label, I'd love to have like just even being in management, man. My biggest thing with management is I don't think I could step away from music that much. Like I couldn't be that far away from the music. I'd have to be in it somehow. But yeah, man, 10 years from now, I'd love to have a few artists under me or a few artists working with me like consistently.
Do you have any final words of wisdom for the listeners today?
Oh damn, this is like the end of Desus and Mero where they give you the rainbow. What do you want your rainbow to say? Final words. I'm gonna do the same thing as my high school quote. Kid Cudi, in the end they gonna judge you anyway, so whatever. I leave with that because back to the whole being by yourself thing. I mean, if you like it, you like it. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. Granted, if it don't do numbers, okay, other people don't like it. Just keep doing it. People get I feel like people nowadays, especially with social media, especially with Twitter, because they can see that instant gratification or that instant dissatisfaction. I think that's the biggest thing that people don't realize is just do it, man. Someone's going to like it. Maybe not everybody, maybe not this person, but people are going to like it. So yeah, someone's going to judge you anyway, so just do it.
Yeah. Shout out to Kid Cudi, Northeast Ohio's own. Love it.
Very true.
Love it, man.
Forget he from Cleveland.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man, that's the biggest thing I can leave with people for sure.
Well, man, that's all I have for you today. Great episode. Love this, man. Love getting to know more about you and everything. I appreciate you giving your time today to join this platform and just give a little bit of your time to other upcoming artists and everything. So thank you, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Honestly, I've been waiting for this. Ever since you messaged me, like, I got a spot. I was like, please give it to me. Dude, yeah, no sacrifice. Literally no sacrifice at all. This is literally fucking great being here. But yeah, man, then thanks for having me. Love what you're doing. Looking forward to hearing more podcasts. Looking forward to hearing this podcast. But yeah, man, shout out to you for real. You doing it.
Yes, sir. And, I'm looking forward to all the music you got coming out soon. Obviously, me and you have music coming very soon. We got music coming, everybody. So
everybody, it's coming. It's in the works, I promise.
Yes. And, we'll have to do a part 2 eventually.
Yeah, please.
Sure. So,
let me give me some time to let me get some more things flowing. I got more stuff to show you.
Awesome.
But yeah, be on the lookout for shows. I got shows coming up. They're gonna be popping up. Raleigh area specifically. I'm gonna move my way up the East Coast next. Virginia, you're coming next. I promise.
Love it, man. Well, thank you once again, bro.
As always, man. Thank you, Anthony.
Thanks, guys, for listening today. That was episode 79. We'll be back this time next week. As always, hit the support button on your podcast streaming platform if you'd like to send any funds, and feel free to leave us that 5-star rating if you enjoyed today's episode. So we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.